Hi everybody, how are you? I thought today, because we haven't done this for a while, we'll go through the practice and just do a fairly sort of flowy sequence. So I'm just going to assume that everyone's done the class at least once, and I will make sure that an earlier class is available so that if you want more instructions you can go back to one of those. Okay, so we'll just try and make it nice and fluid and not too many instructions. So come down into either Baddha Konasana or constructive rest. And when I say flow, obviously I'm talking about the standing stuff. It's a little bit harder to follow the seated or floor poses without instructions. So just start by checking in. Just try and relax, try and soften, and just go through all those parts of your body that you might tend to habitually tense. So your throat, your forehead, maybe that little frown line between your eyebrows is there long after the sun has gone down. Excuse me. Your throat to relax, your belly, buttocks, the lower back. Just see if you can completely soften your spine into the space beneath your body. Just allow your breath to soften. And just go through all those things that you personally have to take into consideration before you begin any kind of physical yoga exercise program or practice, or all those injuries that you may have, whether they've been going on for a while and they're a little bit chronic, or whether you've got something new and exciting to be mindful of, special conditions. So all those things, how you woke up this morning, how you're feeling generally. I'm going to do a few of those slightly longer inhalations to begin. And we're not too worried about the exhalation, remember, it's all about the inhale. The exhalation will just be very passive, okay? So just before you breathe in, very gently push down ever so slightly on the pelvic floor. Remember, there's a difference between bearing down and just kind of allowing that area to kind of push forward in a more natural way. Take a little sip of air into the lower belly, and then feel the majority of the air move into the main part of the belly, so across the navel area, little tiny bit into the lower chest, and then a little bit more into the collarbone region, so always 3/4 of a lung full. And then when you're ready to let go of that inhalation, just allow your body to soften and release. So this always wants to feel like, you know, you've kind of got into bed at the end of a really physically tiring day, and you're allowing yourself to just sink beneath the covers, sink into the mattress, and surrender into rest. And when we do our practice, our yoga practice, ideally we want to feel restful on the inside. So we want the body to be strong and firm, but we want to be focused. We don't want to be thinking about what we should or we shouldn't be achieving. We just want to let everything flow, let it roll out organically. And when you complete your next exhalation, bring your knees together if they're not together already. Press your toes, your heels, the soles of your feet down. Lift your pubic bone slightly and bring your chin in. And if it's more comfortable for your back, bring one knee at a time towards your armpit. So your toes are close, knees are wide, and then just allow once again your spine to soften into your mat. Hold on to your shins when you're ready and bring your knees a little bit closer to the armpits but without forcing. And we'll create a little bit of resistance by pushing the shins into the palms, palms into the shins, and relax. That might feel a little bit easier. So let's start with the fish pose. We're broadening across the upper back. Press the shoulder blades down, but bring the chin in and relax the belly. And expand the tummy on the inhalation. So feel as if you're lifting belly, chest, collarbone, as if towards the ceiling. Front of the body, expanding. Relax. Allow the back of the body to gently sink back down and bring the arms in between your thighs. Push your arms into your inner thighs and your inner thighs back into your arms, and relax. And take your palms to the outer knees and push your outer knees into your palms and your palms back into your outer knees, and relax. Bring your knees together. Pop the arms down by the side. Let's give the hips a little bit of a wiggle. So from the left to the right side. So checking in now with the lower part of the spine. What's going on there? What's going on with the hips? Probably stiff as usual. Now if you want to change this movement, you can start to do the circle thing. So you're kind of experiencing a sense of each of the four corners of the lower back connecting with the mat. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Just go back to the side movement. And then we're going to take it back in the opposite direction if circles are your thing. And then relax. Bring the knees in and give the hips a last little wiggle from the left to the right side. Now anchor your left foot quite firmly. So you're going to grip the mat with the toes. Take the right leg straight. So it's 10 centimeters off the mat, extending into the ball of the right foot. So just holding your leg in this position helps to strengthen the muscles around the knee and also softens the hamstring. So that preps us for our one-legged bicycles. Goodness, I've just realised I did not take my phone out of the room, not my mobile phone, house phone. Take it back, opposite direction. And we're going to bring the right thigh nice and close to the chest. Interlink the hands around the shin, give it a push and relax. And if you want to, stay there. Otherwise, flatten the left leg to the ground and remember you're anchoring the heel, trying to make that left leg a little bit longer. And we're going to create some resistance. So we push the shin into the palms and then a little bit like the fish pose, press the shoulder blades down, but feel like you're lifting the front of the body up towards the ceiling. Relax. Allow the back of the body to sink back down. This time, fingers to the bottom of the mat, shoulders away from the ears. Leave your head where it is if you want to. Otherwise, expand the tummy, breathing in, chin to your throat, peel the upper body off the mat. And for one more add-on, you can lift the left leg if you want to. Keep breathing into the tummy. Sides of the belly should be nice and soft. And bring the left thigh to the chest. Pop your feet down. So we're rolling over to the left side to do some clams. I've got my left arm out, but you could pop that hand under your ear if you want to. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Last one, 12. Do another 12, rest, or take your left or right leg even, straight. And you can adjust your position a little bit if you want to. You're going to do 12 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, so now we've got our lower legs touching, knees on the floor, and we're going to lift 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now let's go back into constructive rest and let's just check in. And I think you're going to notice your right side seems a little bit odd. So grip the mat, this time with your right foot. So it's pressing down quite firmly, left leg straight, 10 centimeters off the floor. Hold it there, relax. Just allow that hamstring to soften a little bit, these muscles to firm, and one-legged bicycles when you're ready. So it just loosens up hips, hamstrings, and lower back. Let's go back opposite direction. And let's bring the left thigh nice and close to the chest. Interlink the hands around the shin, give it a push, and relax. Stay where you are, or flatten the right leg, anchoring the heel. And we're going to do some resistance. So we push the shin into the palms, resist back, press shoulder blades down, but feel like you're trying to lift the chest and the belly up and away from the floor. Relax. Allow the back of the body to sink back down. Take your fingertips to the bottom of towards the bottom of the mat, bringing the shoulders away from the ears. Leave your head on the floor or expand the tummy on the inhalation, chin to chest. Peel the upper body off the mat. If you want to add on again, lift the right leg. Check the tummy is breathing nice and soft down the sides. And bring the right thigh back in. Come back down. So this time we're going to roll over to the right side. You can pop that hand under there if you want to. Are you ready? We're doing 12. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do another 12. Rest or left leg straight. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay? And then we've got our knees on the floor, lower legs touching, 5 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come back into constructive rest. Check in. That should feel quite even this time. So one last little sit up. So thighs as close to the chest as you can, balls of the feet towards the ceiling, fingers to the bottom of the mat, shoulders away from the ears. Just leave it at that if that's preferable. Otherwise, expand the tummy on the inhalation, chin to chest, peel the upper body off the mat, breathing into the belly. And if there is a reason that you shouldn't come up from here, it just doesn't feel comfortable, obviously don't do that. Just lie down, roll to the right side, come to sitting and then standing in your own time. Otherwise, you can come all the way up to sitting, possibly up to standing. Okay. So have your feet about hip width apart. Bend your knees a little bit. Groins push forward. We're flattening out the lower back a little bit, leaning back a little bit, but without arching. All right? Like that. So elbows up, armpits to the floor, chin to the throat. Lengthen the back of the neck. Lengthen the front of the neck. And as we go through, just remind yourself, the idea is not to squish one side of the body in order to stretch the other. All right, so length on both sides. So let's tilt the weight forward, feel the toes grip, and then imagine that you're stretching the mat apart with your feet. And then imagine you're trying to get your feet into a duck feet position. So pigeon-toed duck feet. So my feet are a little bit like that, so it's like I'm trying to do that. And relax the belly, relax the face, relax the neck, relax the throat. So I'm going to get you to really keep tuning in with your abdominal area, with your feeling brain, your gut brain, and try and allow all the movements to emanate from there. Because I know, especially, with things that are going on at the moment, we're all a little bit stuck in here, and we want to kind of bring our energy back into the belly. When you're ready, follow me as much as you can. Couple more. Moving from the trunk, from the navel spine. Last one. And about 10 of these. Feel the movement. No hard and fast rules. over to the right. Back to centre, about 5, doesn't matter though. Other side. Centre. Other side. Centre. Other side. Last 5 in the centre. Last one. Last one. Elbows, 12. Move from the belly, from the navel. Last one. Back to the beginning. Five. Last one. 12. Last one. One more. Five. 12. So 9, 10, 11, 12. Balances are always optional. You can always just leave your toe on the floor, remember. I'll do easy versions and then add on. Don't feel obligated to add on. And if you're feeling quite balanced, quite practiced, just go straight into the balances if you know what they are. Half moon position. Warrior 3 variation. Going into the lunge. I'll show you the easy version, easier. No need to take your hand to the floor for the next twist if you don't want to. No need to do this next add-on if you don't want to. Back into the first side twist. Easier. And do 2 more of those, or join me with the harder version. Inhale. Easy. Harder. Challenging. Tricky. This is dancer's pose. Karate Kid position. Second side, over to the right first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Twisting half moon. Half moon pose. Warrior 3 variation. Into the lunge. Stay in this position, or you can follow me. You're moving from the belly, remember, from the navel. No need to do the next one if you don't want to. Easier. Harder. 2 of these or 2 more. Inhale. Easier, harder, challenging, tricky. And Karate Kid position. Lovely. fancy hands. Have your feet a bit closer. And again, take the arch out of the back. Don't come down if it's not great for your knees, remember. Like a little swim stroke. Left leg back. 3. Warrior 3. Back into the lunge. This time lift the pubic bone. Arms forward, elbows close. Push into the back foot. Relax the belly. Trikonasana. If you want to make this harder, take the hand off the leg. Feel your core muscles working. Soft shoulder, next variation. Bound variation. And warrior 2. Five. So that's 2, 3, 4. Last one. Hug the imaginary tree, heels to toes, bottom bones to heels. Relax the head, relax the abdomen. When you're ready. Interlink. Optional. Shoulders in. Arms up. If you don't want to take your hands to the floor, do the forward bend with your hands on your thighs. Just adjust the position of your feet. Otherwise, hands to floor and adjust the position of your feet. Push into the outer feet. Remember, keep a little bend in your knees. Adjust the pose if you need to. So it could look like this. You could use a prop. Otherwise, if it's possible for you, if your body allows, you can start to walk your hands between your feet and relax the upper body. Let everything soften. Keep the attention focused on your abdominal area. So your core area between the pubic bone and the base of your sternum. Let's try the twist. So we're going to walk the hands forward. Maybe they're already there, but anchor your left palm, pop the right hand on the belly. Now I really want you to stop thinking with this and start focusing on your abs. Don't even use your hand this time, maybe your right hand. Just as you move, breathe in, turn from the navel to the right side, and that movement maybe brings the right arm up, and then you can use the left palm to twist a little bit more. Use your right foot for a bit of resistance. Pop the right hand down. All right, let's try again. So go from your head to your belly. Don't worry about this left hand for now, but as you breathe in, turn your navel. Turn from the navel. Navel, navel, left. And that left arm goes up. Use the right palm to twist just that little bit more, pushing with the left foot to resist. Beautiful, left hand down. All right, so we're going to come back into Gajastan. So you can shimmy or jump, scoop forward, lengthen between the fingers, and this is a really good movement to really focus from, moving with your belly. All right, so this is the lawnmower. 1, 2, 3. Easier, harder, challenging. Karate Kid. Lovely. Hoping that left leg feels a little bit different. Second side. Let's relax the tummy when you're ready, like a swim stroke. Right leg back. 3. This is number 3 now. Warrior 3. Your version. Into the lunge. Do it whichever way suits you. If you're wobbly, do it my way. Now we have to lift the pubic bone, remember. Ribs are in, not jutting forward. Arms forward. Breathing into the tummy, pushing into the back foot. Soften the face, the neck, the throat. Trikonasana, that's triangle pose. Remember, move your navel to the ceiling. That brings that right arm up. Let go of the leg if you want to work a bit harder. Those core muscles have to work very hard if your hand's off the floor. Relax that right arm. Second variation. Bound variation. Do what you can. Warrior 2. And are we ready? We're doing 5 of these. Soft shoulders. 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the tree. Give it a hug. I'm just going to come back up a little bit. Heels to toes. Belly soft. Pelvic floor relaxed. When you're ready. Cocktail. Over to the left. From the belly, remember. Over to the right. Left even, sorry. Shoulders in. J-Lo. One more each side. Same thing, if you don't want to take your hands to the floor, just pop your hands on your thighs and adjust the position of your feet. Otherwise, do what you did on the other side, but push into the outer feet, bend the knees. Your pose could look something similar to this, and you could even use A chair, you can have your hands on a chair. Alright? Doesn't even have to be a block or a bolster. If you really want to make it simple, just use a chair. But if you are doing the full version, can you try and relax your shoulders, relax your head. Try not to let your legs collapse. Try not to let your feet collapse. Use your feet. They are your foundation in this pose. I'm going to try that twist. So you can walk your hands forward. Simple. Just walk your hands over to the right. Trickier, align your belly with the top of the right thigh. Take your arms into outer space. Super tricky. Twist a little bit further. Take the outside of your left arm to press into that right leg. Bring the right arm forward, twisting from the belly. Second side, simple. Just walking your hands over to the left. Trickier, aligning your navel with the top of the left thigh, taking your arms into outer space. Super tricky. Twist a little bit more. Outside of the right arm presses into the left leg. The outside of the left leg. And left arm forward. That's hard. And I've got very stiff shoulders as well, trust me. Adjust your feet back into Gadget stand. Scoop forward, lengthen between the fingers. Relax your belly. Now I want this movement to emanate from here. Are you ready? Lawnmower 1, 2, 3. Simple. Harder. Challenging. Simple. Harder. Challenging. Lovely. Let's relax with some energy balling. This really gives you an opportunity to work from your core area. You almost want to imagine you don't have arms when you do this and your hips can't move. So if your hips can't move and you've got no arms, you have to move your trunk. It's tricky. And if it's tricky, that's telling you something, isn't it? Your trunk is very stiff and your core isn't moving very well. We have all these important organs, mostly in here. Let's shimmy it down, shall we? Soft Uttanasana, like a ragdoll variation. Bent knees, soft shoulders, and then coming down into firstly cat pose. You can give your back a bit of a stretch, and then we're going to come up onto the shins. We're going to stretch out the hands. So if this position is comfortable, if not, just adjust. You can even sit on a chair and do these if you need to. So groins forward, lean back so the ab muscles work. You can see soft around the sides, hard at the front, firm at the front. So stretch into the fingers, broaden the thumb pads, fingers to the floor, lift the chest, and arms forward. Fingers back, squeeze the hands into a fist. Come into this position, that position if you can. You see that? Looks a bit like that. And left hand on the top, but on the right hand on the bottom, on the left. Press the palms together. Try and take the hands through, keep the palms touching. Try and straighten the arms with the palms touching. That's the first challenge. So if you can do that and it's not too challenging, then you could try and turn your hands in an even anti-clockwise direction. Swap it back. This time, right hand on the left, palms together. Try and take the hands through. First challenge is to keep the palms touching with straight arms. And then you try turning your hands clockwise. Lovely. Into cat pose. Grab the mat. Press all the fingers down, but lift up the palms this time. And we'll go over to the little finger, ring finger, middle finger, index finger. Do it again. And then when your thumb, your palm, your thumb pad back down on the floor, just make a note of how that feels, because you should be gripping with your fingers. And when you first do that, you don't go into that habitual thing that we all do, which is sink into the wrist and forget to really use the whole of the hand. So I just want you to, anytime your hands are on the floor from now on, to think about really kind of making sure that your fingers are pressing into the floor as opposed to the base of the wrist. Okay, so round out the back, right leg back, left arm forward. Now you can, whenever you're ready, take that left hand back to the floor, otherwise leave it off the floor. That makes it a bit more challenging. Completely up to you. Are you ready? Thigh to chest, knee to shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Parigasana. So I want the weight in that back foot, that's my right foot, and I'm just going to balance maybe on 2 fingers of my left hand. That's all. And this right shoulder is soft again. So this is Parigasana, and this is the easy version or easier option for the Wild Thing pose. Now we can play around with this to get these core muscles working. Alright, so if I take my hand off the floor, they have to work harder. If I just balance on 2 fingers, lift the right leg, they have to work harder. And I can play around with that balance, but I'm not very good at it. You might be better than me. Never hurts to practice your balance. Great for your brain. Pop the right hand down. Okay, so we're just going to work towards pushing that right heel to the floor, stretch out the calf. Let's try the other leg. And now we can come into maybe Gomukhasana. Don't feel obligated to do this one. You can kneel and stretch forward instead. So right leg over the left, left knee slides in behind, and possibly we start to take the bottom towards the floor. And yes, this is a challenging pose for lots of people. So if you find it really hard, there's nothing wrong with you. It's normal to find this one hard. Very few people find it comfortable. Comfortable, funny word to use maybe. Come back into cat pose. All right, round out the back. Let's try the second side. Remember your hands, don't forget. Easy to forget, isn't it? Left arm up, right leg back. Oh, actually, got that wrong, didn't I? Right arm forward, left leg back. Now you can take that right hand to the mat anytime you need to, all right? Thigh to chest, knee to shoulder, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, last one, knee to shoulder, Parigasana. I want my weight in that back foot. I'm just going to use 2 fingers to balance on. This left shoulder is soft, does something like that. Now if I take my hand off the floor, those muscles, they really have to work hard. I can take my left leg off the floor, do something different, and take both off the floor. Oh, that's half a second, that's improving. And back into this position, and we're going to work on pushing the left heel down, stretch out the calf a little bit. My calves are tight, I don't know about you. Second side, and either just kneel and stretch forward, but if you want to try Gomukhasana, left leg goes over there to the right, right knee slides in behind, and then we can try and take our bottom to the ceiling. And my advice is, if you're doing this pose, especially if you're someone who finds it relatively okay and easy, try squeezing your thighs together for something different. Then you really feel your bum muscles getting involved. Back into cat pose. Alright, so you can practice using your hands safely if you're going to do Chaturanga with me. So Chaturanga, the low plank, cat pose makes it easier. Plank makes it a bit more challenging, but I'm going to push my weight back a little bit firstly. Scoot my bum forward, see my ribs are in, I'm not doing this. Are you ready? Look forward, shoulders over the wrist, breathing in, grab the mat, elbows in, come down so that your belly touches the mat, maybe a few seconds, even half a second after your chest touches the floor. Shalabhasana. So with this variation, I'm more about just trying to get a bit of movement in those kind of upper back joints and muscles where, you know, if you sit at a computer for a long time, you always get that ache in that one spot. So similar to how we did in the beginning, we took the arch out of the lower back, we're reversing the curves for a short amount of time to get a little bit of movement and fluid moving through those areas. So shoulders down, elbows pull to the hips, belly pushes down, lift the sternum up. So I think the consensus is, or the theory is, once you get to about 25, all that fluid stops moving naturally through your spinal joints, that lubricating fluid, and then you have to move. The only way that you can get things moving in there, or get that fluid moving, is from movement, which makes sense because we all get stiffer after about 30 odd, just in the early 30s you start to notice that you get a bit stiffer. Probably younger today because so much more sitting. So get everything moving, keep your joints lubricated and healthy. Alright, so we're going to do these pec stretches. I'm not going to mirror for this one. Sorry, I'm going to just stay here, but I'm pretty sure you know them anyway, so it doesn't matter which side you do, but hopefully it'll make sense. So left knee out, push the tailbone down, grab the mat on the left side. That's midnight. That's 3 o'clock. I want your arm at 1:30. See how my hand is? It's not like that. Grab your mat, bend the elbow. Alright? So it's not like that, not like that. It's like that. I'm just explaining this a little bit more fully because it doesn't matter how many times I say I know everyone kind of goes to sleep sometimes with instructions, but if you want to get a good result, do this one properly. Alright, so bent elbow, that's been glued down with super glue. I can't move it. But I'm going to use this left hand to see if I can undo the super glue. Is that making sense? Alright, it's easier if you are a woman. You can imagine that you don't want to squish your boobs. Alright? But you want to keep imagining that right pec there is glued to the floor and this left hand is trying to unsuccessfully undo the glue. And then you get that stretch in that pec there. Some of you can take your left toe tip behind. Back to the first position. Now before we do the other side, I just want you to check in. Can you see how much softer that right shoulder feels? So releasing these muscles will make your neck feel better, make your shoulders feel better, okay? So it's not always about your shoulders, it's what else is going on in that particular area. And sitting, we're always forward. So tailbone down, again, grab the mat, midnight, 9 o'clock. I want this left arm at 10:30, but then I'm going to bend the elbow, see, bent. Alright, then I'm going to glue in an imaginary way that left pec down. This one's much tighter for me. Now I'm going to use this right hand as if I was trying to undo the glue or not squish my... If you're lucky enough to have some, you'll know what I mean. So keep pushing down, but imagining you're trying to lift up. That really hurts, in a good way. Don't overdo the stretches. That's why you want to do resistance. I know some of you out there are really flexible, and you don't need to be more flexible. You want to be stronger if you're very flexible. So that means you have to resist. Always use resistance. Never just sink into a pose with your full range of movement. Maybe you take that right toe tip behind. Gorgeous. Let's come back. That feels a bit nicer for me. I'm just going to shimmy down a little bit. I'm going to do the swimming exercise. You can do that one again if you prefer not to do it. You could do it like this. Or you can keep your toes on the floor, lift your knees and do it just with your arms. I'm going to do both. We're doing about 35 swim strokes. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. That's right, yes, relax. Let everything soften. So we're going to go from here into kneeling, stretching forward. If you would like to do the harder version of the worm, that's okay. I'm going to do the accessible variation because that's easier for most people. So forearms on the mat, shoulders move down, grab the mat with your palms. Remember what I've been talking about the whole practice. Move from your navel, not from your chin, not from your chest. Focus on your navel. Visualize, if you can, your pubic bone, your belly moving towards your chin. And then we come into a forearm cat pose. Turn it into a normal cat pose. Round out your back. Then take your knees wide. Let your big toes touch if possible. Look forward. And if you can, you take your bottom towards your heels. And if there are issues with your shoulders and various other things, you can just drop your elbows where you land. If there are no issues, then what we can do is use our arms to lengthen the spine. So I'm going to creep my hands forward. Now, what did I say to you earlier on? I said, remember, any position where your hands are on the floor, I want you to use your fingers. Not just this, and not this. This is nothing. Okay, so we're going to press the fingers down. We're going to anchor the whole of the hand, the thumb pad, the pads of the fingers, the joints. And we're going to try and get our shoulders close to our ears. Then maybe we bring the chin in a little bit. Then we push the armpits down. And then we feel as if we're trying to lift the back of the body, the back ribs up towards the ceiling. And it's a really amazing feeling of being stretched and tractioned. Feels lovely. You get the same feeling hanging on monkey bars. So every time you're in a kid's park, if no one's looking, just hang on something and then you'll get a really good stretch. To go to the chiropractor, you have to pay $60 or something for something like that. You can do it yourself for nothing. Breathing into the tummy. Now there's no obligation to come into down dog. You can just hang out here. Alright? But you'll notice that if you don't kind of relax like this and you keep doing the pose in the way that I've explained, using your palms, breathing into the belly, lengthening your arms, you stay pretty warm. And when you're warm, you know your blood is flowing. When your blood is flowing, you know you're improving circulation. I mean, obviously your blood always flows. I don't mean it like that. But you want to improve your circulatory processes. And that happens when you move, and you know it's happening when you stay warm. So for those who like the down dog, you come into the cat pose first. Be aware of your hands again, because whatever happens in your life, you need your hands. So hard when your hands don't work anymore on your feet. So round out the back, bottom towards the heels. Let's go into the pose now. All those things that we did before, can we do them again? Don't worry about straightening the legs yet, maybe. Let's lengthen the arms. Let's look towards the belly. Let's push the armpits down. Then we're going to imagine, like we did when we were on the floor, that we're trying to get the back ribs towards the ceiling. And then maybe we could work towards bringing our heels to the floor, bearing in mind that is quite hard. Took me about 10 to 12 years. But if you put your heels on the floor and suddenly you lose that shape in your spine, I would keep the knees a little bit bent. Now I can feel myself sinking into my wrists, so I'm going to remind myself by lifting up my hands, or the palms of my hands I should say, and pressing with my fingers. All right, rest or lift the right leg, extending into the ball of the right foot if possible. Rest or try bringing your right foot over to the left side, and then we're going to bring that right palm forward and turn to the left side. See, I've turned my back foot, and either you drop that right knee on the floor, remember we did that pose before, or Wild Thing pose. And if you want to make Wild Thing pose more challenging, it's a back arch, back into the down dog. Remember all those things? Lengthen the spine, belly forward. So I want to see my abdomen my rectus abs, my washboard abs pushing forward. I want to see that isolation, and so should you. Take the weight to the right foot, lift the left leg. Extending into the ball of the left foot. Now you can rest, or you can take the left leg to the right. You can slide that left palm forward, turn the back foot to the right side. You can drop that left knee and make it Parigasana, or you can stay here, or you can do something a little bit more challenging, depending on whether you're Irene or someone else. Back into down dog, drop the knees. We're going to come into a sitting position. You can do it my way or your way. Don't do it my way if it hurts. Table pose. All right, so we're going to do a harder version today as well. So only an add-on. So fingertips to the bottom, towards the bottom. Push the shoulders down. Elbows close. You see, now I can feel that already. So I'm going to grab the mat and lift my chest. Remember, my chest is here. This is my head. It's a separate thing. So lift the chest. And that might be enough for some of you out there. That's fine. Don't do arm balances if it hurts your wrists. There's no need. Bottom towards the heels if you don't mind doing the odd arm balance. Lift the belly up. Push the shoulders to the hips. Okay, so you're aiming to get that belly up towards the ceiling rather than kind of sinking down towards the floor. Now, I'm going to tell you something about taking your head back. Some of you may have just dropped your head back. I hope not. But this is how you do it properly. Chin forward, look up to the ceiling, push the chin up, push the throat up, then take your head back. And don't let it drop. I would just look up, because then you can feel those muscles working and you're not going to annoy that poor little vertebra at the back of your neck. Chin in, come down, be careful because you get dizzy doing those things. Better off just looking forward. Oh, we're going to do the harder version, won't we? All right, relax. Do that one again if you want to, or try Parsvottanasana. I find this much harder. Shoulders down. Push the chest forward, breathing in. Feet on the floor if you can. Chin forward, look up. And for those of you who are super clever, you can lift one leg at a time. I think you'd have to be really, really clever to lift both legs at the same time. And come down. I find that really hard, lifting the legs. So if you love a little bit of a challenge, that's one for you. You can do a little forward bend if you like. All right. Let's come down to finish the practice. Get warm if you're a bit cool where you are. I know it's probably nice outside. I can see the sun streaming through the bottom of this blind, but it's cold in my house for a while during the day. So grip the mat with the left foot when you're ready. Right leg straight, 10 centimeters off the mat. Let's do one-legged bicycles. We're going to go into the happy baby pose in a minute. Opposite direction. And when you're ready, we're going to go into the crisscross. We're going to take the left leg to the right, maybe, otherwise just stay in that first position. We might take our fingers up, we don't have to. We could leave our head on the floor, or we can expand the tummy on the in-breath, chin to chest, peel the upper body off the mat. Coming back down, happy baby. So the left thigh, we're going to hug to the side ribs. This is a happy baby position I'm showing you with my right leg. You don't have to grab anything, but the resistance version is really useful. So you could hold on to your calf, your ankle, or the outside of your right foot if you can reach. Imagine you're bringing your thigh to the floor, but you're trying to get your foot to the ceiling, elbow forward. Don't forget to keep this relaxed. Your life does not depend on these resistance stretches. Now, just relax that enough so something's happening, but you know, your life doesn't depend on it. And for those of you who are very flexible, I'm going to move over here a little bit. This is your add-on, not for everyone. Let go of the right leg. See if you can straighten it. Bring the right arm on the inside of the right leg and push the arm into the leg, leg into the arm. Relax, try again. Relax. And then you can either go back to that first variation of the happy baby, or you can stay here, maybe holding onto your ankle, your shin, your toe. Breathe, soften. Focus on those muscles that you can feel are quite tense. Now that's going to be inner thigh muscles, your groin area. We don't want to overstretch those muscles. We want to ask them nicely, because you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. Relax, hug the thigh. Beautiful. Pop that right thigh or right foot even down, left leg straight, 10 centimeters off the mat. One-legged bicycles. Opposite. We're going to go into the crisscross. You can keep it simple if you like, just left leg to the right. Add on if you want to, right leg to the left, fingers to the ceiling. Leave your head where it is, or expand the tummy on the in-breath, chin to chest, peel the upper body off the mat. Happy baby position, that's hugging the right thigh to the side ribs. That's what that leg looks like. You can add on, if it's what you did on the other side, we're going to do the resistance version. This armpit should be firm as well. Breathe into the tummy. Visualize the thing that you're kind of aiming for. You want these muscles to soften, don't you? Now, just relax that tensioning enough so it feels like something, but it doesn't feel like your life depends on it. And this is only for those people who are very flexible, who don't get much of a stretch doing those things. Straighten your left leg, see, without holding on. Then left arm on the inside of the leg. Now I'm pushing my leg into my arm and my arm into my leg. And then it gives me a little bit more. I can try again, a little push. Oh, I get a little bit more. And then you can hold on, or you go back to that first position. Don't overdo the stretches. I know it's tempting. Stretching doesn't really give you long-term results. You get short-term results, but you could get long-term injuries. That's boring, isn't it, really? Hug. Pop your feet on the mat. Okay. So have your feet about hip width and just lift there's your pubic bone there, there's your belly there. So lift the pubic bone up, and then you go, oh, my muscles kind of change. Lower belly muscles engage. Press the feet down. These muscles engage. Groin muscles engage. Have your arms kind of on a similar plane to your thighs. That's enough if you don't want to do anything else. It keeps you warm. Otherwise, we're going to do Setu Bandhasana, bridge pose. Keep your focus on the pubic bone. Really see if you can practice this move with your awareness in your belly. So as you inhale, imagine the pubic bone moving as if towards your chin, and you're going to find that eventually the front of the hips start to lift. It's an organic movement. Once you're in a position you feel comfortable in, squeeze your heels together as well, a little bit like we did in the beginning. But breathe into the abs. If the abs are chronically tense, you're restricting so many things. The movement of your spine, that's one example. The ability of your body to digest your food, your digestive system to work properly. The ability of your immune system to function in an optimal way. The ability of your reproductive system to work, and you might think, I don't want to reproduce, but you're reproducing cells all the time. Put the arms down by the side. If it's enough, don't do anything else. Come out of the pose. Otherwise, if you feel comfortable doing the next one, we shimmy onto one side, bring one arm under, do the same on the other side. Join hands if possible. Shuffle your shoulders down, press the backs of the arms down. Now in this position my chin is massaging my throat. That's nice for my thyroid, but I'm just going to imagine I'm trying to get my chin away from my throat slightly, just slightly, not too much. That creates resistance and hopefully will release tension in my neck. Keep breathing into the belly. Lower the belly, lower a little bit, your bottom, about a third, then release your shoulders. And now we're going to come down without giving in to gravity, joint by joint. And you can maybe visualize, if you can, your spine. And imagine that all those separate joints are like a set of escalator. They move separately, even though they're part of one mechanism. And if one step gets caught up with the next step, the whole thing stuffs up, doesn't it? So have a think about that. And imagine as you come down, pubic bone keeps moving as if towards the chin. And all of those joints are moving independently of the ones either side. Once your bottom lands, rest, relax, just for a few seconds. Constructive rest. And then if it's more comfortable for you, one knee at a time to your armpits. Arms in between your thighs if you can. Give it a push and relax. Hold on to your shins. Bring your knees a little bit closer to your armpits. Push your shins into your palms, palms into your shins. Relax. And let's finish off the way we started. So this is fish pose, Matsyasana variation. Broaden across the upper back. Press the shoulder blades down. Bring the chin in. Relax the belly. And then expand the tummy on the inhale. Feel as if you're lifting belly, chest, collarbone, as if towards the ceiling. Front of the body expands and the middle of your spine moves away from the mat. And relax. Allow the back of the body to sink back down. Bring the knees together. Pop the arms down by the side. Give it a bit of a wiggle. And constructive rest position. You can turn your palms up and just gently extend into your fingers if you are somebody who falls asleep a little bit more easily. Otherwise, rest your hands on your tummy. You could leave your feet in this position or shimmy them out, let your knees drop together. Otherwise, those of you who feel comfortable, you can come into Baddha Konasana. I'll take you through the last little breathing exercise, but just get yourself comfortable and warm. I'm just going to disappear from view because I've realised, as I said before, I had the phone in my room. This is my home phone and I don't want it ringing while you're in the middle of relaxation. So I'm just going to remove it. I'm still here. Now if you remember that practice, you can just begin. Excuse me, I'm coming back in a minute. Otherwise, I'm back now, I'm going to go through it with you, at least a few rounds. So, Viloma-krama, we're focusing on the exhalation. If you would like to incorporate Ujjayi breathing, you can do that. I'll explain that as well. So, Ujjayi breathing, you just pretty much imagine that just as you're about to inhale, you are sipping the air. You're about to sip the air through a straw, but your mouth is closed, lips are touching. So if I imagine that, what I get is this noise. Now that's pretty loud. It doesn't have to be that loud. You're the only one that needs to hear it, even though you're in your own space. But just imagine if someone else was there, they don't need to hear that. Now at the end of that inhale, to engage Ujjayi breathing on the exhalation, you can either just imagine that you're humming, but you've taken the sound out, or again, you can imagine you're about to blow that air out through the straw, but your mouth is closed. And then you'll hear the same sound. Front of the throat moves towards the back of the throat. Now these kind of breathing exercises, they can be practiced anytime, anywhere. Anytime you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, a little bit stressed, just come back and slow down the breathing, and Ujjayi breathing can be really helpful for that. So we're breathing in normally, that's 3/4 of a lungful, and when we exhale, it's in 3 even stages. And a reminder, this is what I was trying to get you to do today with your physical practice, at least the beginning thing. You want to feel it, you don't just want to think it. And when we're learning something, we have to put in a bit of effort and there's a little bit of head stuff. But then when we learn it a little bit, we feel it, and then it can become a little bit more subtle. And we're moving from the inside out as opposed from the kind of outside in, where it's just all about rules and technique and whatever, instructions. So the same with this. I've given you the instructions, I've given you the technique. Take it away and make it something that becomes very specific to your interpretation of those instructions and those rules and those techniques. So you feel it. You're not just doing something, you're feeling it. Play around with it. You can hold those pauses for longer. Really check in with how your inner body is reacting to the practice. Make those observations. And the next time you complete your exhalation, you can either just mute this recording and continue for a while if that's what you'd like to do, or you can just let go of any sense now of controlling your breathing or anything else. And prepare yourself for the last part of your practice, so complete rest. If you need to adjust your position, you can. Just do it as quickly, as unfussily as you can. Make sure that you're nice and warm. And these practices that we do, they're a form of meditation, really called dharana. Dharana is where we concentrate. So if we give ourselves something to do, it's much easier to keep the mind steady. And we get better at that. Get better at keeping the mind steady, and then we can move into the next phase. But let's just go with one thing at a time. So when we move and we're focusing on those movements, that's a dharana practice. It's a moving, dynamic meditation. Okay, and when we are doing pranayama and we're focused on the breath, that's a form of dharana. And if we want to try and continue keeping the mind steady, rather than thinking that we're meditating, but actually just lying there thinking, let's just keep that idea of dharana going. So this time, just when you relax, when you get into that comfortable position, keep your awareness on your physical body And always come back to that idea of softness and release. So keep scanning constantly through your body and reminding yourself softness, release, surrender. Because the tension will creep in. There'll be a thought that flies into your mind. You won't remember what it is. It might be a memory that's just suddenly come up from deep within. You may not be able to hold on to it, but your body will react. Because your body holds on to all those things. And this is how we can release those things, by just a little bit of quiet time, a little bit of rest, relaxation, focusing on the softness. And it was once described to me, or an analogy, it's a little bit like a pressure cooker. You know, so you've got all this steam, you've got this tiny little space in the lid, and the steam, and much better that than the volcano. True? So that's all. Continue to make the effort to just put in that little bit of quiet, restful time. 5 minutes a day if possible. Pay attention to those parts of your body that you might tense without even being aware that it's happening. Check in with the throat. Allow the tongue to be soft in the mouth. Allow the skin on the face to be soft and relaxed. Be aware of that space between the shoulder blades, buttocks, pelvic floor. Some people are chronically tense in their pelvic floor, and their abdomen. This is causing all sorts of problems. Allow these muscles to relax. And again, if you would like to relax for a little bit longer, if you don't feel like that's enough time, then you can just pause or mute this recording now. Otherwise, I'm going to take you through the last part of the practice. We're going to do the visualization. So when you're ready, just see if you can bring your awareness to the lowest part of your belly, so around your pelvic floor, pubic abdomen, right at the base of the spine. Bring your attention right into that area. Take a little sip of air in there and just see if you can imagine that whole area becoming warm, feeling spacious, feeling nourished by fresh supply of blood and other nutrients. If there is an emotional aspect to that particular part of the body, go with the first thing that comes into your mind. You can go back and analyze it a little bit later, but don't do it now. And then follow your breath into the main part of the belly. Okay, so the most important part of your whole physiology, anatomy. So as we say, place of the feeling brain, the enteric nervous system, the digestive system. We're not just digesting food, we're digesting thoughts, feelings, life experiences. We all know how our digestion is affected by our emotions or the things that go on in our life. So if you can just visualize this whole area becoming warm, feeling free, feeling nourished. Bring the breath into this area and allow it to soften. When you're ready, follow the breath into your chest. Feel the ribs lifting slightly out of the waist. And this time visualize your heart, your lungs, and the circulatory system working together to move that blood, energy, information around the body and to bring oxygen into all of the cells, trillions of cells that make up who we are. You're in charge of all those cells. You're the boss. Allow the throat to soften and follow the breath through the throat to the crown of the head, just pausing to observe for a moment or so. Sensation at the crown of the head, known as Sahasrara. And when you're ready to exhale, just see if you can follow a sense, not just that you're releasing and relaxing your physical body, your muscles and your bones, but also that you're allowing, you're accepting. Everything is the way that it is. You have no control necessarily. Just gonna let things play out and see what happens. Doing what you can. So follow, if you can, that thought, that exhalation down the back of your head, your neck, upper back, across the shoulders, middle back, lower back, across the top of your pelvis, the buttocks and the tailbone, and then down through each of your legs, the heels, and out through the tips of each of your toes. And in your own time, give your fingers, your toes a bit of a wiggle. You can squeeze your eyes and your eyelids together, bring your arms up above your head. Give your whole body one last big stretch. And you can either bring up your left knee to roll yourself gently to the right side, or you might like to bring up both knees. Give yourself a bit of a hug, bit of a rock, and then roll yourself gently to the right side. And stay there for as long as you need. And I hope you have a great day and you enjoyed the practice. Namaste, everybody.